Let's take a moment and look at the disclaimer. This content for educational, informational, entertainment purposes only, and nothing should be taken as a recommendation to buy, hold, or sell any securities at any time. We're here just to spread the word of how BTA analyzes the markets, how we look at the markets, and nothing should be taken as a recommendation. We are known as the middle traders. We are not going to get in at the exact bottom, and we're not going to get out at the exact top. But we will make a lot of money in the middle. What I wanted to do real quick was do a little update, okay, in regard to the weekly charts for the major market ETFs. So earlier, we posted a video, all right, of discussing the weekly charts, the different moving averages, and the structural charts on the daily chart, right? The chart structure on the daily chart. But what I wanted to do a quick update is now the time is 3:08 on the 31st, 5/31/22, and the market is getting ready to close in about another hour, right? But I wanted to do a quick update because we spoke about the 9-day moving average, we spoke about the 8-week moving average, this green line. That's the 8-week moving average. The white line is the 4-week. This magenta colored line is the 100-week moving average. So we spoke about this 8-week moving average as being a possible area of resistance. And right now, like I said, the time is around 3:08. And you notice that the market traded up the DIA, right? This is the weekly chart of the DIA, the ETF that tracks the Dow Jones. The DIA traded up and then pulled back right on top of the 8-week moving average. Now, you know, we've been discussing our Bollinger Band strategy. Well, this is the high of the signal week, okay? So for the DIA, it closed at 332.07 on the signal week, all right? 332.07. Right now, at the time of this recording, the DIA is around 330.17. So this would not trigger any action for the DIA. Okay, so we didn't hit the pivot on the DIA. But in any case, I think it'd be wise. It might be wise for to be careful and watch this 8-week moving average, because this could act as some overhead resistance. If we can't get above this and stay above this, that might be a problem. Okay, so we are going to pause for a minute and wait definitely until tomorrow. No matter what the market does in this last hour, we're going to wait until tomorrow. We're not going to take any trades in regards to the weekly Bollinger Band strategy. We're going to wait until tomorrow and see how the market reacts at this 8-week moving average on the DIA. Okay, it might be prudent and wise to do that because the market, these longer term moving averages could act as resistance. All right. Now let's look at the Qs. This is the QQQ, the ETF that tracks the NASDAQ 100. And we have the same thing. We're trapped now between the 4-week moving average, which is the white line, and in the 8-week moving average, which is the green. We traded right up to the 8-week, almost to the penny, and we pulled back. Okay. Now the Qs closed at 309.10 on the weekly chart on this day, last week. 309.10 was the close on the triple Qs. So according to our Bollinger Band strategy, well, it doesn't look like we're going to hit the pivot right now because it's at 307.95. But in any case, we are going to wait because this downward trending 8-week moving average, like we said earlier today, we did a video right before the market opened and we posted it saying, listen, keep an eye on this downward trending 8-week moving average. It could act as an area of interest, an area of resistance. And it looks like it's trying to hold. So we need to get above this, y'all. So I know we've been looking at our weekly Bollinger Band. We got our trading plan. But right now, this overhead resistance, this 8-week moving average could be a problem, okay? That can be a problem. We got to get above that. That can act as resistance. And we're stuck between the 4-week and the 8-week. All right, so we need this to resolve itself right now. In other words, that's what we're saying. For us here at BTA, we definitely need this to resolve itself. We need to see Either the stock is going to get above this 8-week moving average, or is it going to get back below the 4-week? But we need to see this resolve itself before we go any further. Now here's the SPY, the SPY, the ETF that tracks the Standard & Poor's 500, and you can see the same thing. This 8-week downward trending 8-week moving average is the problem. Okay, it's acting as resistance. Can we get above that? Right below it, we got the 100-week, which is the magenta moving average line, and the 4-week, which is the white moving average. So right now we're stuck between the 4-week, the 100-week, and this downward trending 8-week moving average that seems like it want to act as an area of interest for resistance. Okay, so we need to see it get above that. And for the SPY, we closed at 415.26. Okay, we closed at 415.26 on this week, last week. So for our Bollinger Band strategy, it doesn't look like we're gonna hit the pivot right now. Anything can happen within the last 45 minutes, right? But in any case, we're gonna wait until tomorrow and see how this market opens up and see what happens around this 8-week moving average. Okay, this 8-week moving average is acting as, it seems to want to cause a little problem. Okay, it's better to be a little cautious than to run out there and get yourself hurt. So that's the way we see it. Okay, now this is the IWM. Okay, the IWM, this is a weekly chart of the IWM, the ETF that tracks the Russell 2000, right? So look again at this 8-week moving average, this downward trend of 8-week moving average. Well, the Russell last week, it closed at 187.64. Right now, we at 185.66, so we are not hitting the pivot again. So actually, for the Bollinger Band MACD strategy, Bollinger Band RSI stochastic MACD strategy, rather, our trading plan is calling for that pivot to get above the close of the previous week, right? Of the signal week. Well, to close on the closing basis, we're not seeing that right now. Okay, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But in any case, even if it does in this last 45 minutes, this downward trending 8-week moving average, like we said earlier this morning before the market opened, we have to be careful for this. This seems to be like it want to act as an area of resistance. If we can't get above that, that's a problem. We need to stay above this 8-week moving average. The 4-week moving average, the white line is turning up, but we're seeing a lot of overhead resistance here, possible areas of interest. I think it'd be wise for everyone to go back and look at the first video we put up early this morning, okay, talking about this and talking about some of the daily charts, structural charts, okay? But in any case, this 8-week moving average is a problem, all right? That 8-week moving average, we have to get above that, all right? Now, this is the ITOT, a weekly chart of the ITOT. Now look again, right? You got that green moving average, which is the 8-week moving average, that green line, which is the 8-week moving average. Look at the 100-week. Look at the 100-week moving average right here, right above price. Okay, so on this week, last week, the ITOT closed at $92.33. Right now, we're right around $91.51. So we haven't hit the pivot on the weekly Bollinger Band RSI stochastic MACD strategy anyway. But even if it does, like I said a few minutes ago, even if it does, we got this overhead resistance of this 9-week moving average and this 100-week moving average right here. We need to get above that. So we're going to have to wait until tomorrow. No matter what happens, no matter how this thing closes, we got to wait until tomorrow and see if it can stay above that. Okay. And right now, okay, look at the, let's skip that one for a minute. Look at the major index ETFs, right? Right now, everything is in the red except for Bitcoin and Ether, okay? The ETFs that track Bitcoin and Ether. Now, let me try to expand this a little bit, and hopefully you all can see it. Let me try to expand this a little better, okay? So right now, the only thing that's in the green, okay, as of right now, is Bitcoin, the ETF that tracks Bitcoin, all right, and Ether. Well, we know Bitcoin has been falling apart, and Ether has been falling apart for the last 2 weeks, and this could just be a little bounce, so we can ignore that. But What's more important is that all of the major market ETFs up top here, all of them are in the red. Now, one thing we was taught is never take a position on down days, right? If it's a down day, let's wait till the next day and see if we get an up day before we actually go into the market. We don't want to trade in the market on down days. That's what we were taught. So right now, this look like it's going to be a down day, okay? Even though the pivot is not hit on the strategy for the weekly Bollinger Band strategy, the pivot has not been hit. But also, this has been a lot of red here today. Okay, this is definitely looking like a down day. Okay, so we think it'd be wiser to wait until tomorrow and see how this market opens up and how to trade. Now here's the sector ETF, the major sector ETFs, and the only sector that's in the green right now is consumer discretionary. Okay, consumer discretionary is the only sector that's in the green. Now that's a defensive sector, right? The consumer discretionary. I'm sorry, that's not a defensive sector, is what I'm trying to say. This consumer discretionary. Well, if this is up and everything else is down, and inflation and everything is going, everything else is shooting to the moon. But this is a question mark. This is a question mark. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe it's Tesla. Tesla got a little pop today, and Tesla is pretty heavily weighted in consumer discretionary. This is stuff, this is non-discretionary stuff. This is stuff that like, I can understand if consumer staples was up today, all right? Stuff that people can't do without, like milk, toilet paper, tissue, and everything else. But consumer discretionary and the whole rest of the market is down. Uh, that's a little interesting. That's a little interesting. That might be just a little anomaly like Tesla or something like that. But consumer discretionary, that's not that's a little questionable. But all the other 11 sector ETFs are down. So the weight of the evidence is to the downside right now for today. So we think it's wise after looking at all of the moving averages, look at the weekly moving averages, that 8 week moving average. Okay, we think it's wise to wait. Okay, even though the pivot is not hit on the strategy in our trading plan, we think it's wise to wait and see what happens tomorrow. Can we get above that 8 week, or is it going to act as that overhead resistance and possibly cause a little issue for this rally? Okay, so look out for the next couple of videos we're going to do. We're going to keep an eye on this every day, all day. We're going to be monitoring it, and we're gonna watch everything moving. Okay, take care.